Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having fat-free Greek yogurt, pecans, and almond butter. I'm not sure there will be people who will find fault with what I'm eating and explain how unhealthy it is and how deadly it is, and especially the organic yogurt and the organic almond butter. That's the organic part makes it doubly unhealthy. Yes, people get this stupid sometimes. It's the internet. So, let's talk about other similar levels of stupidity. I've discussed stimulus to fatigue in the past. Something really, I think Dr. Mike Israel might be the one who actually coined the term. I could be wrong. He uses it a lot. It's a loose guideline. Get you in the right direction. When you try to apply it dogmatically to everything, number one, it's being stupid. Okay, that's stupid. It's a good, useful guideline. It's not this hard, set in stone idea that you must follow or you're going to go to hell. Okay? It's not religion. In fact, it's going to leave gains off the table. You're going to leave strength on the table. You're going to lose some really good exercises. And I'll give you similar ideas. When I've said in the past, hey, and most people agree with this, exercises that move the body through space tend to be pretty good exercises. See how that works? It's a nice little guideline. But then you do a bench press or a curl. Those didn't move the body through space. Why are you doing them? But people get that stupid. It's like, well, because they're good, useful exercises that meet my goals. And one of them is a competition lift. Right? But people get like that. Or exercises that have a stretch reflex. Right? They can elicit a myotatic reflex. Tend to give a unique hypertrophic response. And it's not a bad idea to have an exercise that does that for a muscle maybe that needs some extra work, a lagging muscle or something. It's not a bad idea to throw those in. In fact, they tend to be really good for improving, mobility itself. Better than mobility work, actually. And then people say, but that barbell curl doesn't have a stretch reflex. And it doesn't move the body through space. Why are you doing it? That's why. You said that those are good things. You see where we're going with this? You start applying these different guidelines of useful tools, and you're going to have like 2 exercises left. Like, if you start applying these things, all these different little useful guidelines, before long, the only thing you're going to have left is going to be good mornings. I mean, what are you going to have left? Like maybe good mornings, maybe dips. You can't do pull-ups. They don't have a good stimulus to fatigue. They don't actually, by the way. Pull-ups can wear you out pretty quick, weighted pull-ups. You're not going to have any exercises left. So when we talk about stimulus to fatigue, what we're saying is that the majority of your hypertrophy exercises should probably have a very high stimulus and low fatigue. Doesn't mean all of them. It means probably the stuff where you get, the bigger chunks of your accessory volume. Now, deadlift's a perfect example of the other extreme. So then when you do deadlifts, people will say, but what about the stimulus to fatigue? I don't care. Because I've got good stimulus to fatigue, I've got traction and everything else on most of the other exercises I do after it. So let's say if I do some deadlifts and then I do afterwards glute ham raises, puts you in traction, good stimulus to fatigue. Belt squat, puts the back in traction, good for recovery, good stimulus to fatigue. Reverse hyper, Puts the back in traction, good stimulus to fatigue after doing deadlifts. There's no problem here. In fact, this is great. We did have one exercise that doesn't have a good stimulus to fatigue, but it has a ridiculous stimulus. It just has a ridiculously high fatigue also. But most of the exercises done in that session had a really good stimulus to fatigue. We're paying attention to it. We're looking at recovery factors, traction on the back. But then you have this one big monstrous axial loading lift that compresses the spine. Almost every muscle in the body is being used, at least the big ones. A lot of fatigue, but it has a lot of stimulus. So how do we counter that? Well, let's say we're doing a 5-3 runish approach with it. And let's say we want to do some volume with it. All right. Do your heavy set, right? Your 5-3, your 1, whatever. Probably don't take it to failure. Try not to miss a rep. Okay, so now we're good. Missing reps on a high stimulus to fatigue, that's rough. Reaching failure, that's going to really bury you. Then for your back off work, you use a lighter weight. You don't take any of your sets to failure. You leave reps in reserve. Okay? That's the key to using really high stimulus to fatigue lifts. Because start looking at what some of these lifts are. What are the worst offenders? No, seriously, what are they? Like squatting, deadlifting, standing presses? These are bad stimulus to fatigue exercises. Okay? They're also some of the best size and strength builders. And that's not a conflicting statement. It's that they beat you up. So if these exercises beat you up, you need to stay pretty far from failure on them. Right? You need to focus on quality sets. So let's say again, if you're going to do 5x10, maybe do 60% of your max. Don't try to do it with 70. Don't fail. Make sure that your last set, even if you do 5x10, make sure the last set still had at least 1 rep in the tank. You go lighter, get quality sets in. And of course, you can obviously do heavy work with it too, but that heavy work needs to be, again, programmed. Right? That's how you get away with using these, and then you say, okay, so I did this really high stimulus to fatigue exercise, or really high fatigue to stimulus, but it's a good exercise. The rest of my session now, and I didn't fail on any of it, I need to pay attention to that stimulus to fatigue on the other stuff I do behind it so that I can recover. Right? This is an intelligent application of stimulus to fatigue, not a dogmatic one. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.